Property Mentors is proudly sponsored by Roma Finance and Aria Finance.
Today we're in Gloucester to meet experienced developer Stuart.
Now, Stuart's undertaken many projects over the years, including some quite sizable ones, but our view is you're never too experienced to learn something new, and maybe a fresh pair of eyes can open up a new lot of possibilities. So he's got a project that he wants us to see, and then we've got something lined up that might just tempt him.
It's going to be a challenge. Are you up for it?
I am. Let's go meet him.
Let's go and see him.
Stuart Carter is the name. My history was equestrian based. I was a jockey. I then developed equestrian yards and then moved on to just having a quieter life, and I wanted to have no clients and just do small developments of my own. Where I want to move to is looking at different opportunities within property. Yeah, just looking at being clever in property.
Wow, this looks interesting.
It's rather different, doesn't it, this one? Not our
Good if
usual
you're into
style.
farming.
Ah,
Stuart!
Thank you for coming to see me.
Hey, good to meet
Hope
you.
you
good to
can-
see you, sir. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Now, we've obviously know a little bit about the sort of the basics, but can you just run over them again? You own this, you bought it, it's
Yeah.
just, and your background and what,
Sure.
what you're trying to aspire to.
Yeah.
What your sort
Well,
of
my
risks.
original background was equestrian developments. I was a jockey for many years.
Oh, right.
Oh, really? Wow.
And
Successful?
well, I was okay, but a little bit big, as you can see. Yeah, yeah. And then got into. I wanted to create a hobby, so I bought a property to do up. That did really well, and then aspired to get into property. And then you couldn't find a builder to develop equestrian developments. The builders had no understanding of horses.
Really specialist.
Yeah, so I then fell into that marketplace. We've designed and built yards for the British Olympic team. For 2012, we did the New Zealand team yard in the Cotswolds. I designed and built Carl Hester's yard. And then from that, through that, that sector, we then did all the surfaces and Equine Advisor on the Warhorse movie. And then from that, I thought I'm going to out of equestrian and just do small developments for myself.
Yeah.
And we've done some small developments since then, small housing sectors. I bought an old chapel we converted into 8 flats. And now I just want to concentrate on nice small developments that are manageable. And
Not too risky.
Not too risky. And this came
Sensible
up.
size.
It's really nice. It's a nice area. It's in the countryside. And I think there's more development potential.
And you paid how much for it?
300,000.
I mean, you look around and you go, you are kidding
Like
me.
real estate.
That was a good buy, wasn't it?
Really
Yes.
good buy.
Yeah, 1 acre site with 5 barns. It's got great opportunity, I think. But obviously I'll be really intrigued to see what you think. We've got planning permission on this particular area here for a 2-bed with a 4-bay carport.
Wow.
Wow.
Why would
Some
you have
car
4 bays?
lover, car
Yeah, why
lover,
would you have 4?
Like us.
Yeah.
You know, seen what we've turned up
That's
in
it.
today.
And then down through here, Q class we applied for on this. Conversion of agricultural building to residential
Right.
under permit development rights.
Right. And have you got that?
That's being reapplied for. It was already passed, about to lapse. Put the same application back in. Parish and everyone are very happy with it. So yeah, it's a formality. Q class creates the footprint of a building, and only the same again as garden.
Yeah.
Or extra, so you can't have additional space. So there are constraints, but it's there to help farm buildings and farmers get permission.
Yeah.
And obviously residential in the countryside.
Yeah.
We have another barn just there, which my understanding, I think we could get class R, which is for commercial use, maybe an architect's studio or whatever. So the site's got lots of potential. This barn has to be removed as part of the planning.
Right.
And all those barns need to be removed. But I think it's just, this barn here doesn't have to be removed, and it's sat there, so it will be removed, but it's a waste. So I think, hopefully, logic, and common sense will prevail.
So how many houses are you getting on the site?
At the moment, it's got planning permission for 2,
2, okay.
but the objective will be for 3.
the big question for you then is where to put your money, is it? I mean,
Yes.
what are you hoping that we can help you with? What's your biggest question?
I'm looking to potentially get as much as I can out of this site, and also any other options and sites that you've looked at and found which you feel could be a benefit to me. The best return on investment is obviously what I'm looking for, but more importantly, it's being clever about how we use the planning and you know, doing things in the correct stages, and obviously that's where your expertise comes in.
And in terms of a budget for this, have you thought about?
I've got
how
budgets,
much
yeah.
You've got budget.
So the overall cost is about 560, 580,000, 300 for the development, and this particular one, agents say, will be worth 550. That one will be worth 500, and the Class R should be 300.
So that's your profit. Actually, the Class R is the profit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the Class Q.
The Class Q will be worth 500.
Oh, right, okay.
This one's worth 550, so they're
Right, okay,
a
fine.
million
So you've got
50.
a
Million 50
Yeah.
on those two.
Yeah.
And then
Another
300.
300, so
Yeah, so a
1
million.
million 350.
Yeah.
So 300,
GDV.
400,000
Yeah.
is your profit on it.
Yeah, okay.
If all goes to plan. It sounds like you've got it pretty well sussed.
Hopefully.
Great. Well, it's been very nice meeting you.
And
Goodbye. I don't think you need some help. The thing is, there is going to always be options. I think this is a really great opportunity, and I think you bought really well. I think the plans you got in place make a lot of sense. But you know what? It's always worth considering other options.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that today. But meanwhile, do you want to just show us around?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Great.
This is lovely.
Yeah.
Well, it was. What was this originally? I guess a milking parlour?
It was a milking parlour, yes. And this is the section that's got full planning. So now we're in the lounge stroke kitchen.
Okay, yeah, beautiful. Is that a central island there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
looking
lovely.
out with
Yeah,
glass
yeah.
doors out here into a little courtyard garden there. Through there, we're having a glass link, and that's the bedrooms in the other barn, in the other section there.
Okay.
So it's quite a contemporary link which goes between the two.
Okay.
So this could be quite traditional or modern.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Glass link sounds expensive.
It is.
Yes. The
Right.
planners love that old new look, don't
Well,
they?
do.
Yes.
But so, just to get this right though, you have inherited somebody else's plans.
Yes.
That can sometimes be great. That can sometimes not be great. How do you feel about the plans?
I think you're quite right. There are elements where you would say there could be an easier option, but as you
Cheaper
said,
option, like you're talking about glass link.
yeah, the glass link essentially there will be extremely expensive.
Got a rough costing on that?
£40,000.
Right.
So it's an expensive way to look around, but it will be beautiful.
To look at what though? People often don't consider.
No.
They go to all this whole thing of putting in glass without thinking about what you end up looking at.
Yeah.
In this case, I don't know what it would be.
It will be a courtyard garden
Oh,
through
okay.
there,
It'd be quite nice.
and then out the front you will be looking to your beautifully manicured garden.
Manicured garden. Okay, in that case, I'll take it back.
Yeah.
And the build cost on this was?
This will be about 260, 280,000.
For what square footage?
900 probably,
Okay.
yeah.
Feels about that sort of
Meters.
size, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, great. What else is there to show us?
So we've got the Class Q
Right,
down the bottom.
definitely want to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have this other barn here,
Okay.
which we feel, as we discussed earlier, could qualify for.
Could be the Class R commercial.
Yeah.
Commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lead on.
Lead the way.
So this then is what?
This is the Class Q.
Okay.
So we're now stood in the bedrooms. There's 3 bedrooms in here, 2 bathrooms, 1 family bathroom and an ensuite over here. Then with an open plan kitchen, that will be glass down there, glass down here, looking out on the open countryside.
I think it's time we sort of cut to the chase here. This is a great site. It's
Yeah.
amazing. you've got plans for it.
Yes.
We sort of, one of our jobs as mentors is to try and get you to think maybe outside the box. Just throw in a curveball to that. So you're thinking about doing this, you've got the plans, you've got it out. Why don't you knock it all down? Why don't you knock it all down and build something perhaps that's a bit more sympathetic? Is there scope, do you think? You've obviously got the various bits of planning here. Could you, do you think, get approval for forgetting everything that's been approved already and maybe build some really nice, you know, in
Beautiful
keeping big family homes?
Yeah.
And you've got an acre plot.
Yes.
So you could build 4, 5, 6. I mean,
Yeah. I think there would be some resistance, but I think you know, it's definitely an option, and I think you're quite right. It would be more sympathetic to the existing building, so it would help. And I think yes, we could design something which is more sympathetic. You could use probably far better products. You could have handmade bricks. You could have lime mortar. Yeah. You could make it a really beautiful area.
However, we have other things to show you.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
To tempt you out of this mess.
This is good. You've got a plan. You've got a plan B.
Yeah.
But let's throw in a plan C and possibly even a plan D.
Fabulous.
We've got an interesting mode of transport. Are you ready to take the risk?
I am indeed.
I think
See if we get there.
There's more risk in Nicholas driving you to the next location in this van and actually making it there, given that this site is full of so many nails and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And Nicholas has just told me there's no spare tyre in his
Yeah. So if we get a flat,
historic...
We're pushing.
We're pushing all the way to the next site.
Are you ready to take all that?
I'm perfectly ready.
Good. Let's go.
Let's go do it.
Property Mentors is proudly sponsored by Roma Finance and Aria Finance.
This is it.
Welcome to the beauty. Do you like the paint job?
Yeah, I love it.
A little bit of patina.
Beauty. Not often called that, but anyway.
You jump in the back, Stuart.
Absolutely. A bit of a curveball, but hopefully you'll appreciate it for what it is.
Well, I'm excited to see.
It's a good part of Cheltenham.
Here we are.
Don't focus too much on the decor.
No.
It's beautiful.
So I bet you're wondering
Yeah.
what is going on here. It's one of those classic right place, right time. Because what we've got here are 2 bungalows which just happen for a twist of fate or whatever to be being sold at the same time. Independent people, so different owner, and sadly both of them are probate sales. So, you know, somebody's, obviously lost a family member and they're now being sold. The key with this one is the combination of the 2 opens up some really interesting possibilities. So in this instance, what we're thinking about is this not as 2 bungalows, but as a development plot.
Seems very spacious.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't totted up the total acreage we've got here, but more key for us is the location and the fact that towards the back of the site, and we'll have a wander around in a bit, you've got a block of terraced houses. To the side, you've got terraced houses. There's a series of flats over there. So in this vicinity, there's a precedent for sort of medium scale development. And we reckon, no guarantees because it hasn't got planning because nobody's put it in for it, but we reckon
probably about 12 terraced houses. And around this area, the terrace houses are going for around 220 per unit. And then terrace more like sort of 225, maybe even 230 to a good standard. So that's quite a GDV.
So how much do you reckon?
I would say probably a bungalow in this area. Anything from 3 to 350.
Yeah, good guess.
And then obviously the uplift value of joining the two. So yeah, 7.
You'll be happy then?
Well, yeah, I'd be happy.
Yeah. Well, we've spoken to the estate agent, who've been really helpful and brilliant.
Yeah.
And they understand the concept. And in principle, you could get both bungalows for about 610, so 305 each. So a bit of a discount from what they were looking at.
And I think in order to get that price for them, you need to act very quickly. So you need to get these under offer in the next 24 hours before they get put on the market. Because now that marriage value, any developer in this area is going to snap that up straight away.
If they see it. And
If
I
they see
think
it.
probably
So-
the estate agent is going to be
Well, they want to
marketing
make
it.
the fee and get it
Well, of course
sold.
so they'll probably be marketing it.
Yeah.
Moved on from marketing it to a owner-occupier into a developer category.
To get something of this value and the amount of development potential in this area
Yeah.
is extremely rare. All of this area is built up already. This isn't a land site on the edge of a village where you can build a few houses.
Yeah.
This is a very central plot in terms of amenities and transport.
Which
isn't
is
it?
why we
So-
think it has potential
And
to
do-
go for the higher numbers.
And do you think, would there be a restriction on overdevelopment? What would your opinion be on?
Well, I think the most important thing is you've got a row of terraces at the back.
Yeah.
You've got a block of flats, I think, of 4 stories neighbouring it. So this bungalow is out of character with the street scene.
Yeah.
So that is a huge potential in itself. I would say sensibly, you would definitely get 2 stories, obviously 2-storey terraces. Might even get 3-storey townhouses if you're really lucky. I think the key to this, and having spoken to the agents and the vendors, although they want a quick exchange, we think you'll be able to negotiate a reasonable length completion. Because that probate needs to unwind, it probably won't happen quickly. And therefore, if you're the perfect buyer that can exchange quickly, take a little bit longer to complete, you're probably the perfect buyer for them. And that gives you time to at least get a pre-app in, if not the full planning. And it seems a little bit less complicated than 5 different varying barns with various class Qs and Rs and full planning apps and glass linkages.
Well, yeah. Now, the only thing we have to apologise for is this is all so fresh, and it genuinely is. We haven't had a chance to speak to the planning office. So we don't even know if, in principle, they would go for that.
Yeah.
So we haven't done a pre-application conversation. We haven't even called them.
It's a little bit of a curveball, but educated and experienced guess.
You might. The problem you got here is in an ideal world you do a lot more research. You talk to the planning office, blah 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 blah. It'll be gone, right?
Yeah.
It will be gone by the time you've asked those kind of questions. You just have to go on gut instinct.
Yeah.
Our gut instinct says you'd get something here,
Something pretty substantial.
and we
And
think
and from my point of view, how I see it also is when we were discussing earlier, it's about risk and what value there is to risk. If you're buying something at market value, worst case scenario, if it doesn't get an uplift, you've got it at market value, you don't make the big
Well,
bucks.
yeah.
Really good point.
It's
Yeah,
nice. You can
just
sell
them-
two bungalows.
sell them
Yeah.
back
I
on.
mean, you've got the bungalows at a bit of a discount. So, and ironically, the demand for bungalows is huge, as you probably be aware.
You can even rent them out straight away. You could probably get a 70-75% plus mortgage on a buy-to-let straight off the bat.
While you wait for probate, because we
stick a
all know
tenant
that
in.
probate can take forever.
Yeah.
So, not forever, but a long time.
Yeah. If you've got access, you can do that whilst you sort the planning.
Talking to the estate agent, obviously it's really good to chat to them. They've obviously got a lot of background information. It seems that the probate is relatively uncontested, straightforward. Yes, there are still some unknowns, but I think on balance of risk, it's a really good one compared to the other site, and not against the other site. You've really done a lot of good thinking there, and that is great. It is a rural location. It's like different to being obviously a lot closer to the town centre here, which does have its bonuses. Of course, you own the other side. You don't own this,
No.
so you're going to have to consider selling that, or maybe getting planning and then selling it on. I don't know your finances, but I would have thought you would get development finance on this like that.
Well, I think the key is you wouldn't need development finance on this. The key is just to buy it with a buy-to-let mortgage.
Yeah.
You don't have expensive bridge loans, expensive development finance. As soon as you get the planning through, you switch to development finance, knock it down and build it.
Yeah.
And that's the key, is you're on low value finance. You only need a 25% deposit, let's say, give or take. You might get a bit more, but sensible rate of 75% loan to value of the property, 25% deposit on this, 25% of 610 is, do the maths, Martin, come on, you're the maths guy.
140
Yeah,
grand.
so you're going to get 140 grand to buy it and sit on it, and you're going to get a yield from the income in the meantime. You might have to paint the walls white and change the carpets, but you'll get a reasonable tenant here very quickly. Rentals at the moment are flying off the shelves, and that makes it extremely low risk.
Yes.
And I think one of the concerns I would hold still with your existing site is, although your costs are keen, you're an experienced developer, you know what you're doing. I still get tripped up on the odd site with extra reinforcement in the concrete slab, issues in the roof you haven't seen, and until you start pulling the building apart and seeing what's there, those costs could escalate. And
particularly on the one barn, I would definitely agree. The Q class is really nice and straightforward. The other one is the expense.
Bit more complicated. The one on the boundary, you mean? That side? Yeah, absolutely. A little bit more complication being on the boundary with the listed building. But I think on the face of it, this represents bread and butter development, doesn't it?
Yes.
You've knocked up houses before. This would be something right up your alley, I'm sure. The question is, what are you going to do with the other one if you decide to go for this one? I guess our advice, having discussed it, would be perhaps work through the planning on that.
Yeah.
And flip it on with planning without taking that risk of building it. Take your development, not your development, sorry, your uplift on the planning profit.
Yeah.
And then roll that into this and get going with this. With a delayed completion on this site,
you
can wrap up the planning on the other, get the planning going on this, and you've actually built yourself a mini development pipeline.
Yeah.
Rather than being stuck on just one site, you've managed to deliver two in the same time frame.
Yeah.
And without, getting too down this route, you are providing 12 homes.
Yeah.
As opposed to 4.
Yeah, so there will be
time
social
when
housing
people-
attached.
Yeah, you probably. I mean, we need to check the local SIL if there's a SIL levy and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Community infrastructure levy. I don't know if Gloucester Council has that, but
Yes.
you are probably, for building 12, you're in the realms of having to provide, low cost housing. So, that needs to be factored into the overall numbers. But even taking that into consideration, I think it's still going to be a venture that would be worthwhile. And I think, again, if you get involved with planners early on and you talk to the council early on, then when they appreciate what you're trying to do, then I think you'll get the support.
Yeah. And again, it's low risk. You've got 2 existing properties which are livable.
Yeah.
And as we said, it creates a pipeline. It gives me a future. Yeah, and I think it's really quite exciting. So,
I guess we can have a wander around, and then at some point we need to have a chat about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Maybe have a chat in the van.
Yeah.
So we'll let you have a wander. We can talk you through the sort of site. But that's it in a nutshell. So, Stuart, an interesting day.
It's been very interesting, and very different.
Yeah. So, where do you see yourself now, towards the end of the day, compared to where you were at the start?
I think, given what we discussed on the one site, I'm going to look farther into extending the planning permission, look at the different options. This particular site that you showed, well, the last particular site that showed me, I think that's very exciting. And there's no risk. As you were saying, it's the risk to reward element. There is no risk.
The only risk is tying up the small deposit for 6 to 9 months if you don't get
It's
the
as
plan.
risk free as it gets.
It's very low risk. It's basically buy 2 buy-to-lets and then have to sell them again if you had to. So it's as low risk as it gets, I would say. in
No,
property.
quite. And the other one, I could aim to achieve planning permission for something which is more sympathetic to the existing building, subject to the planning that we already have, trying to trade that off, and then look at developing this site. So I think, yes, I'll be...
Busy, whatever.
Busy.
I'll be buying
We've
this
doubled
one.
your workload.
Sorry, did you say you'd be buying this?
Yes,
Yeah, I think you'd be
Excellent.
pretty silly not to, really.
absolutely, yeah.
And it is a case of serendipity, because it is literally, right place, right time. And I think that was all just you know, all just meant to be really. So that's good to hear.
No, absolutely. And it, like you say, it keeps me busy, keeps me enthusiastic, and
Keeps you young.
well, I don't know about young, but
Double the development pipeline overnight.
yeah.
What could
Yeah,
possibly
it's
go
good.
wrong?
Well, hopefully we've opened your eyes to some alternatives.
Absolutely,
And,
yes. It's been great actually working with you guys, because you can go down a tunnel and look at what you're aiming on achieving, and then a new fresh set of eyes says, well, what about? And everything opens up, doesn't it? So I think that's the key, is having an open mind and looking at all the opportunities. The more opportunities you have, the easier life becomes. Isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with it.
Superb.
Good luck.
Thank you
Yeah, great
both.
to
Can't
see
wait
you.
to
Well,
find
we'll
out how
come
it
back.
goes.
In the wagon?
Yeah, well, might be
Maybe.
something else. I've got some
Martin's got
thoughts
something.
about another kind of vehicle we might travel in the future.
Particularly spacious vehicle, I hear.
Yeah, kind of.
We'll keep that one under wraps till series 2.
Yeah.
But no,
That'd
good
be
luck. We would love to see how you go.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks a lot.
So, Stuart came to us as a pretty experienced property developer already, but it just goes to show that I think there's always stuff you can learn and always new potential and ideas that maybe a different set of eyes can present.
Yeah, a bit of creativity here and there. It's all about the numbers at the end of the day, but looking at the risk as well. And I think what we helped Stuart do today was look at the risk on his existing site, how to minimise that, give him another option there, but give him a kind of a third option, which is what we found in here. Which is quite exciting.
So great. So if you'd like our help, then do get in touch at propertymentors.tv. And we'll be back next time.
See you soon.
Goodbye.
Property Mentors is proudly sponsored by Roma Finance and Aria Finance.